Madam Speaker, public good refers to any commodity or service that is made available to all members of a society. Typically, these services are administered by the government and they are paid for collectively through taxation and other forms of government revenue collection. Madam Speaker, I want, for the purpose of my support to this bill, to emphasize on the fact that public goods such as education, healthcare, road, water, national security, agriculture, food security, land and marine protection, tourism promotion, housing, investment promotions, and social welfare assistance programs, among other government services, are vital to the running of a progressive, productive, and prosperous state, Madam Speaker. I am super proud, Madam Speaker, to be a part of this A-team. When I listened to the Honorable Prime Minister, brought tears to my eyes, literally, on how he has grown. And I want to commend him. And Madam Speaker, as I listened to the Honorable Iselin Philip last evening, it was a proud moment for me, Madam Speaker, hearing the Honorable Minister give a report of her stewardship. Fantastic partner, Madam Speaker, and a very hard worker. And I dare say, Madam Speaker, one of my products. And I'm even super proud this morning when I walked in, Madam Speaker, and saw the double PC body who is at the door. That is yet another one of my products. I am extremely proud, and congratulations to my camper who has now grown into becoming a police officer. While ordinary, Madam Speaker, we would be satisfied with a budget that assures improvement in our economic indicators and a budget which bolsters all aspects of industry in our country. That purpose by itself is not in keeping with the mantra of this visionary administration that is guiding the ship of state. The St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party administration is driven to lead St. Kitts and Nevis into a new day and a better way. That better way, Madam Speaker, is on the horizon. It is a new era where every facet of national life is bolstered by the vision to become a sustainable island state. And you heard it eloquently yesterday, Madam Speaker, well laid out by yet another one of my product, the Honorable Dr. Joyel Clark, when she laid the foundation for a sustainable island state, which is very critical as we march forward to a sustainable state, Madam Speaker. The focus of this budget and future budgets will not be merely an assessment of government consumption, transfer payments, and interest payment, but I stand by the assurance that this budget leads the way to a guarantee that the goods and services that the government will consume in its recurrent and capital outlays, that present and future government safely network programs, and the cost of financing our continued growth and development as a nation, all based on the principles of sustainability. Sustainability, Madam Speaker, is the intersection of the incorporation of 4 sets of values and priority actions in our personal and national lives. Sustainability is achieved when, Madam Speaker, we have actions combined that cause the society and the social, environmental, and economic and cultural, diligently applying them daily to the improvement of our lives, leading not only to progress, but resiliency. In my support of this appropriation package for 2024, I want to outline how the budget captures the essence of sustainability in the areas of education, housing, faith-based affairs, youth empowerment, aging and disability, as well as social development, ecclesiastical affairs, and gender affairs. Then I shall focus, Madam Speaker, on how this budget zeroes in on securing sustainability and resiliency in the East Basia constituency, where I have the distinct honor and the profound privilege of being the parliamentary representative. I am extremely grateful to Almighty God, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity that He has afforded to me to serve my people in East Bastia. And I want at this juncture, Madam Speaker, to thank everyone, all of my permanent secretaries from PS to the cleaner or to the lowest. I want to thank you for your service during this year. I am humbled, Madam Speaker, and you know that I'm also passionate about several things, but I start off with education. And I will provide for us a snapshot of education because I've been challenged, Madam Speaker, not to ask you for more time. But, Madam Speaker, the ultimate goal of our work in education ministry is to strengthen the quality and relevance of teaching at all levels so that we can improve learning outcomes for all of our students, Madam Speaker. The ministry is committed to achieving its 2024 objectives through the appropriation package of $107 million, Madam Speaker. The allotment is appropriated as 97 million in recurrent expenditure and 10.6 million in capital expenditure. The sustainable focus of the Ministry of Education in 2024 will include a revitalization of the technical and vocational training. The ministry believes that on the journey to becoming a sustainable island state, there is a need to create what we are calling the National Training Institute that will equip our young women and men with the capacity and the certification in St. Kitts and Nevis and across the Caribbean community, Madam Speaker. The 2024 work agenda of the Ministry of Education will see the amalgamation of the present TVET institutions into a focused and accredited national training institute. This institution will equip our young people, Madam Speaker, with the skills in the traditional and emerging technologies. Our young people will graduate with certification in hand and be recognized not only in St. Kitts and Nevis, but across the entire Caribbean or CARICOM, Madam Speaker. This, I must say, Madam Speaker, has been spoken about for many, many years, and hardly the energy was placed into ensuring that it happened. But you heard from the Honorable Mover talking about the 33 persons who have been certified as assessors and verifiers, and I'm extremely pleased, Madam Speaker, to let the country know that this is a reality. This is something that will happen with me as the Minister of Education. The ministry is also guided by the data which shows that early childhood education offers a solid foundation for the secondary and post-secondary years of learning. The Ministry of Education wants to ensure that all public and private early childhood education centers offer the best start to our children. That is why in 2024, Madam Speaker, the ministry will focus on ratifying the licensing guidelines for all our early childhood centers, ensuring there is full monitoring and evaluation of these centers and they're being ready for performance, Madam Speaker. This is something they have been asking for a long time. And I was able, through the Attorney General, to get part of it started. Now, in 2024, all will be able to have their certificate in their institution, saying that they are licensed and they're operating as a business. They were challenged by not being able to get loans for equipment in their spaces, and we want to assist in that area. The ministry, Madam Speaker, is pleased to report the introduction and perhaps the reintroduction of 3 important learning assistant programs as part of the New Day and a Better Way agenda. And I speak, Madam Speaker, firstly, of the payment of the economic costs of St. Kitts and Nevis students studying in the University of the West Indies. Secondly, Madam Speaker, and you heard it out of the movers' presentation, and I'm re-emphasizing the payment of all tuition to our students at Clarence Fitzroy Bryan College. It is important for us to say this over and over, because many thought it could not have happened. Many thought that it was not necessary, but as a caring Labour government, we ensured that we delivered on the promise that we made. And moreover, Madam Speaker, the distribution of the laptop and other devices to secondary and primary school children. These investments, Madam Speaker, offer greater opportunities for learning to our young people. And every dollar spent, Madam Speaker, in these programs is a dollar well spent in our sustainable island state agenda. Madam Speaker, I remember when I had my short time over on the opposition side, I heard ministers of education talking about it is a waste of money. The laptops is a waste of money. And what happened, Madam Speaker? We got hit with the pandemic and all of us was in scramble mode. But what is painful about it, we were ahead of a lot of our other countries in the region, and they were able to roll out their laptops, when if we had continued the program, we would have been building on that program and we would have been in a position to even help the others in the region. But I'm happy to be a part of a cabinet that is not going to spare the dollar when it is absolutely necessary, Madam Speaker. We intend in 2024 to reinforce the significance of the one-to-one laptop distribution with training to all of our teachers, students, and of course, the effective use of the open EMS system. I must say, Madam Speaker, there's a level of excitement in our schools, not only among our students, but even the teachers with the new devices. Because, Madam Speaker, it's not just a laptop. It's not just a tablet. And I remember last year in my presentation, the member for Nevis 9, the opposition leader, spoke about his concerns about the laptops. Many we took on board because as we are a progressive government, we listen and we make the moves. And we were able to present to the Federation a device that will change the life of every individual who touch one of those buttons, Madam Speaker. Because on those devices, Madam Speaker, is a package, as I said, that not only would benefit our students, but our teachers alike. The teachers embrace the training that was offered. And Madam Speaker, I think I mentioned it in this honorable house, but I think at this time, with all the goodies that were given out, it's good to bring it back up as one of the goodies. Our one-to-one laptops is up and running and will only get better in 2024 and beyond. And it serves many purposes, Madam Speaker. Because I remember while I was on the campaign trail, I made a promise to our teachers that I know the pain that they go through with writing their work prep. And we are going to try to eliminate that. And this, Madam Speaker, is the beginning of that promise that was made. Because teachers can now download some of their lesson plans off of this program that we are offering, Madam Speaker. They won't have the hassle of spending all these hours up at nights writing or even making up their exams, because all of this, Madam Speaker, it's included in the package that we presented with the one-to-one laptops. Madam Speaker, our holistic approach to education ensures that in 2024, we are not leaving anybody behind. The Cotton Thomas Comprehensive School, the New Horizon Rehabilitation Center, Addis Place, AVEC, and the National Skills Training Program, which are what we refer to as non-traditional centers of learning, will be able to equally and adequately serve the learners from marginalized and underrepresented group in our society, Madam Speaker. And of course, Madam Speaker, you know that the employability of the marginalized in a sustainable St. Kitts and Nevis boosts their confidence and let them know that we believe in them and they are just as important. The budget provides, therefore, for the continued delivery of teaching excellence at the non-traditional centers as well, Madam Speaker. The ministry, Madam Speaker, will also continue its strategic work to improve the physical conditions of our schools. I cannot overemphasize it, Madam Speaker. We have to do a better job at the maintenance of our schools. When I walk in some of these schools, or all of my schools, Madam Speaker, they will make you cry. But we are committed to make a difference. And I am happy to report to this honorable house that for the last year, I believe, at least that is what I was told by the technocrats in my ministry, that this is the most work that was ever done in our schools. I know traditionally, Madam Speaker, we wait until when school closed, don't do no work in the summer, don't do no work in the Christmas, school open, and then you want to start to work. We are doing it differently, Madam Speaker. And as I speak, Madam Speaker, there are a number of schools that are being touched right now in terms of renovations. And I'm happy with the work that is taking place. In a few days, the Irish Town Primary School, Madam Speaker, would have their bathroom renovated. The Keon High School, Madam Speaker, they too will get their bathroom renovated during this term. The work have started. The Charles E. Mills bathroom is well on its way. Madam Speaker, we have to do a better job at maintaining these institutions. And that is why I'm pleased and I must recognize the step maintenance team that I put in place specifically to assist in education. And they have been roaming from school to school, Madam Speaker, ensuring that we fix some of the problems. But Madam Speaker, we are committed, Madam Speaker, to the rebuilding of the Bastia High School. And Madam Speaker, this morning I had the privilege of visiting the site because, you know, the demolition would have started some time ago. And I was very pleased when I went there. Everything is already down, and they're now digging down 6 feet, taking out everything, because we are going to make sure, Madam Speaker, that we do it right. And in doing it right, Madam Speaker, we must ensure that we remind the general public that it's 10 years that we have deprived, our governments in the past would have deprived, or the last government would have deprived our students. And we are committed to deliver a Bastia High School. And much was said about our CBI program, but we will get the Bastia High School, so that means, Madam Speaker. And it will be a state-of-the-art school, I was told. Almost it will be a college campus. None like it in the Caribbean. And I am pleased, Madam Speaker, and we had the opportunity of meeting with the student body, representatives from the management team at the Bastia High School, teachers. They shared their ideas, their vision of what they would want the school to look like. And we engage our local architects. I remember speaking about it in this house. Any designer, any architect who has an interest in what they think the Bastia High School can look like, you can visit the Ministry of Education, and we provided them with information from the last Bastia High School that was supposed to be built on the aquifer and what they were offering, to see what we can add to that. Because there's no need to reinvent a wheel when you have a wheel. But Madam Speaker, in the social media at times try to mislead the general public. And there are some who have their own personal agenda. But I'm not certain if it was ever done. But I want to present or lay in this honorable house the final report from Karari. This was one of the institutions or the experts that we brought into St. Kitts when we had the flare-up at the Bastia High School. I will not say that everything was perfect. But certain, Madam Speaker, when I peruse this report, it was a clear indication that the loud noise was not really the truth. And I want to read into the record just 4 recommendations, Madam Speaker, that the report outlined. Due to the potential health effects associated with the fungi and bacteria mentioned in the section above, as outlined in Appendices 1 and 2, it is suggested that immediate remedial actions be taken. The following measures are recommended to be included in a comprehensive remediation plan for the area sampled at the Bastia High School and any other area of the school which warrants these recommendations. Short-term corrective action. For the outdoor areas, fix all leaks and eradicate the possible sources of pests, such as mosquitoes, by removing stagnant water sources. Cover open holes in septic tanks to prevent sewage odor from escaping. The following corrective actions are in accordance with the Institute of Inspections, Cleaning and Restoration certification of 2008. Remove and replace items which can be disposed of and which have signs of water damage and or visible mold growth. Items which cannot be disposed of must be sanitized thoroughly, Example, damp wiping with disinfectants for surface cleaning, sanding and repainting for those damaged, and reupholstering or deep shampooing of fabric. These items include but are not limited to the bench top and stool top, integrated science laboratory. All maintenance personnel must be properly equipped with the necessary personal protective equipment when undertaking this task. Number 2, Madam Speaker, identify and rectify all sources of mosquitoes. Example, repair all ceiling leaks and seal all other areas where water can intrude. 3, conduct surface cleaning of areas with excessive dust accumulation. All laboratories of the Western Campus. This type of action is very important because dust from normal building environment supports a relatively high viable fungal spouse count. Introduce fresh filtered air into the areas, especially for rooms without any forms of ventilation, and slate air let out so as to facilitate air exchange. This would aid in the maintenance of the indoor to outdoor ratio and reduce musty odors. Madam Speaker, this is what the experts said about the Bastia High School. And I think it is important that I lay it in this honorable house because while I was up there and I saw the work of the men, I know there are some who are going to want to be mischievous and want to create their own situation. But we are ensuring that we clean everything. Persons who are encouraging us, Madam Speaker, we should save the stones as history. But if we save one stone, somebody might say that stone caused something. So everything will go. So, Madam Speaker, I am happy about that. And, Madam Speaker, the Joshua Obadiah Primary School will be a priority in 2024, Madam Speaker. We will, Madam Speaker, take on the phase of secondary school electrical upgrades and the upgrades of all of our bathrooms, as I indicated. I think it's important, Madam Speaker, just briefly for me to share, because sometimes people like to say, we ain't doing nothing. But just to give a little synopsis of what has been taking place, or what has taken place. At the SEMS, Madam Speaker, you have bathroom and electrical upgrades. Almost $1 million in one school. $888,396. The Tucker Clark Primary School, we spent over $300,000 on their bathroom. The Irish Town Primary School bathroom, just about $400,000. The upgrades that we had to do with the structures down there, that was another $400 and something thousand, Madam Speaker. And with all of the business partners that we had when we had the incident in the shooting of our security guard, we had to make some changes with putting up reinforcements, putting up security cameras, fixing of the roof. That's another $100,000+. So within that year, you are looking at a figure, Madam Speaker, of roughly $900,000, almost $1 million, as simple as it looks. But, Madam Speaker, the reality is quite a lot is still left to be done. Because windows need to be replaced, all sorts of other things. But slowly but surely, Madam Speaker, we are going to get it done. We have spent close to $250,000 just on the Washington Archibald High School. That has nothing to do with the electrical that the former administration paid tons of money on. that still wasn't completed. Thank God, I believe by now it is fully completed. The Edgar T. Morris repairing of roofs and cabinets and carpentry, that's another $200,000. And I must say, Madam Speaker, I met information there where someone got the job and received all of government's money to do the fencing at that school, and that has not happened as yet. We can't afford to continue wasting the people's money, Madam Speaker. So I just thought it was important for me to put some of these figures in the atmosphere, Madam Speaker. But Madam Speaker, I commend, and the Ministry of Education commends the principals and teachers, school bus drivers, all of those persons who are working at the school meal plans, the support staff, and all of those persons who have done such an outstanding job for this year. I want to say thank you to them. Commendations must also be given to the dedicated staff of the Department of Education and the Ministry of Education for the guidance and support they give, not only to me, but to all of our institutions, Madam Speaker. Together we create that professional framework through which the capacity of our country is built. 2024 will offer us an additional opportunity to make meaningful change while we are on the journey to sustainability. I often say, Madam Speaker, that I have been blessed with the team that I have surrounding me. All of my permanent secretaries, the leadership in education, in housing, in ecclesiastical affairs, in social development. I was bigging up my minister while she wasn't here this morning. I am blessed, and I look forward to their continued support in 2024. But 2024, yes, next year. But oh, you thought I was wrapping up? No. Oh, no, I was coming. I'm moving off of education. But before I move off, I think it is important, Madam Speaker, as we move along, we must do some transformative things. And we must make some changes, and I am not afraid of making those changes when they are necessary and making the tough decisions when they are called for. And one of the things I looked at, Madam Speaker, is that too often persons contribute in all sectors, and it's only when they are at cemetery or in a funeral, you know, they get, well, they don't get it, but there is this grand celebration. I believe I want to make a difference in that, and part of my aim, Madam Speaker, is to start ensuring that persons who make their contributions in whatever area be recognized in the best way we can. And more so, I feel the recognition, Madam Speaker, is more felt when the persons are able to attend the event and see their names unveiled. And I am pleased, Madam Speaker, to indicate that in 2024, 2 of our schools will bear new names. 2 of our schools will bear new names. The Irish Town Primary School, Madam Speaker, we are going to recognize some outstanding education stalwarts. And I want to thank the Irish Town Primary School alumni who for many years have been advocating for this. They have all of the information, all of the questionnaires that were done, the various recommendations. And it is my pleasure, Madam Speaker, to share with us that the favorable name for the Irish Town Primary School will be named after former principal Maisie Halliday and another stalwart, Sylvia Smith, who is going to be 92, I think, next year, if God spare, and who still is functioning. And after her tenure in education, she continued invigilating for many years. So the Irish Town Primary School will be renamed Halliday Smith Primary School. And the other name change that we will have, Madam Speaker, for next year, 2024, is that the Sadler Secondary School will also be renamed. And the Sadler Secondary School will carry the name of the Dr. Denzel Welling Douglas Secondary School. I want to commend those persons who this opportunity or this privilege is being afforded to, and thank them for their contribution. It was Dr. Douglas, under his tenure, who pioneered that school with the vision of it being a trade school, but somewhere along the line, it shifted. But we are going to try our best to get it to the original vision of the visionary. So, Madam Speaker, I move on quickly, and I now speak of housing and human settlement. Madam Speaker, the growth of a nation is premised on the delivery of key basic needs. Prosperity becomes an illusion when good nutrition and adequate shelter are yet aspirational needs of the people. Too many families, Madam Speaker, in various communities across St. Kitts are still dreaming of their own home. And we are going to, Madam Speaker, put all the necessary things in place to bring that dream to a reality. Because, as you know, Madam Speaker, it is our intention, as we indicated, to cause a housing revolution. The Ministry of Housing and Human Settlement has been mandated to provide the policy direction and oversight to delivering of housing solutions that are both economically and environmentally friendly. Very, very important, Madam Speaker. And of course, I said in this honorable house already that East Coast came on board and they are delivering, Madam Speaker. I'm certain on your way home, if you still live in that area, you would see what is happening in Connery, Madam Speaker. I know the honorable member for number 8, he has visited several times. And they're working towards getting this done for Christmas. What is important, Madam Speaker, is that a technology that so many persons were blasting, it is one that the contractors have embraced. The company was able to provide training for our local contractors, and from the report I received is that the training and the discussion was well received. Some of our contractors can't believe it is so simple and so quick. That is why that everything we pay attention to in the social media. And I am one, social media will not run none of my ministries. Matter of fact, I like when people talk about me and my ministries, it means that I am doing something so they could continue talking. But we are marching onward, Madam Speaker. And as they deliver the 2,400 homes as we promised, it don't stop there, Madam Speaker. Because if you look in the estimates for 2024, you will see an additional $8.1 million there allocated separately, Madam Speaker, for housing, because there are persons who we really got to help, Madam Speaker. When you walk in and you see the condition that they are living under, we have to change that. And as a minister with responsibility for housing, I give my assurance that we will change that, Madam Speaker. And through this initiative, Madam Speaker, we would be able to help some of those who never thought that they had that chance, Madam Speaker. They would be able to have their home. Madam Speaker, there continues to be a need for urgent upgrades to existing government housing. The ministry is aware of this, and we are committed to continue to provide upgrades to the units in East Street and also West Street, Madam Speaker. Now, Madam Speaker, I remember when I came in here and I spoke about my vision of East Street. A lot thought that can't happen. But look at where we are today, Madam Speaker. I would admit we could have already been further with East Street. But we had to ensure, Madam Speaker, that we got it right. We had to make sure, because when NHC, Madam Speaker, is spending over $2,000 every month to clear septic tanks for the apartments on Wellington Road, that they did not pay special attention to ensuring that there is a proper sewage system. We need to make sure that when we design our homes, we don't fall in that same bracket, Madam Speaker. And I am happy, Madam Speaker, with the progress that is being made to beautify East Bastia, and by extension the other constituencies, more so Central Bastia, because you know we don't have any more land that we can build homes, so we are now doing revitalization. And that is one part of leading that, and I want to, Madam Speaker, thank the leadership at NHC on that, Madam Speaker. I must report, Madam Speaker, that the ministry is also collaborating with the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, Energy, Utilities and Domestic Transport, and the Ministry of Environment, Climate Action and Constituency Empowerment in 2024 on developing new standards for electrical and water lines, appliances, and fixtures that lead to greater efficiency in the use of these resources in our homes. You heard it loud and clear. You couldn't hear it no better, Madam Speaker, yesterday by my honorable sister, Dr. Clark. You didn't only hear the passion, but if you were following with me, or following how I was following her, Madam Speaker, during her presentation, I was actually seeing things falling into play based on how she was describing them. And that is the vision that we have in this cabinet, and we continue to support one another. And of course, as we move forward, Madam Speaker, we move forward to becoming a climate-friendly society. And our houses must be part of that as well. And you heard it coming out. Now, Madam Speaker, the National Housing Corporation, they have been championing the cause for our people. I think I reported some time ago that we had a refinancing exercise at the corporation where we were encouraging persons to come in because we met a situation where probably about $12 million persons were not paying and that kind of stuff. So we brought them in to try to see how we can work with them, and they tell us what is best in terms of their payments. For most parts, Madam Speaker, I must say that the cooperation from the people has been welcoming. And I want to thank those, Madam Speaker, who have come thus far. Because 335 persons would have come in terms of refinancing. And then you had another 417 after the reset, Madam Speaker. They too came in, and we commend them. And what we are saying, we understand all the hard times and everything, but come in and have a conversation with us so that even if we say to you, your payment is $500, but your reality is only $150 or $300, we need to know that so that we can assist you, Madam Speaker. And we will continue encouraging the 191, I think it is, of those who are yet to, that's correct, are yet to come in. But Madam Speaker, I must highlight something here that we need to pay attention to going forward. Because the information that I have here, Madam Speaker, is that just over $600,000 was paid out in maintenance and corrective measures of homes that were built over the past 5 or 6 years. No, Madam Speaker, this cannot continue. What this is saying to me is that after the contractor done build the house, all sort of problems happening in the house, and they don't live in the house whether a year, 2 years, 3 years, up to 7 years, 8 years, and they're coming back to NHC to ask NHC to fix this. So going forward, we have to do things differently, Madam Speaker. And one of the good things that I can boast about with the East Coast homes, Madam Speaker, is that they come with a 10-year warranty. So it means that once you occupy one of those homes, nothing should happen within 10 years, and if it happens, that's no longer NHC's responsibility. The company takes that up. But NHC will also be building homes. So we have to now safeguard ourselves going forward. And Madam Speaker, we cannot continue to pay out these kind of money in correcting these things. It means that we have to improve on our inspection. We cannot assume, Madam Speaker, because Gad Peters is a contractor and he built 20 homes before. Your inspector should not go on site to make sure that when it's time to pour the concrete, somebody is there to make sure that the concrete texture is the right texture and it is poured the correct way. So going forward, Madam Speaker, we are going to work on a plan that we are going to incorporate other private inspectors to go out to make sure that when we spend our money on our homes, we get in value for what we spend, Madam Speaker. NHC over the year, Madam Speaker, continue to assist persons with minor repairs as I indicated in the 600,000, and we will continue to do that because that's the mandate, part of the mandate of NHC. looking after the vulnerable. And we will do what we have to do. But I am asking those persons, the contractors, whenever you're given the opportunity, do it to the best of your ability. Because the same small contractors who we push in, and I am for that, if you don't do it right, you are going to affect the lives of some small people for many, many years to come. And we want to do better, Madam Speaker. But Madam Speaker, we are definitely going to be doubling our efforts this year in making sure that we do the things right. The workers at NHC, Madam Speaker, they have been working hard for many, many years. Extremely hard. Extremely hard. Some are paid at the lowest. But I am pleased, Madam Speaker, to add to the many goodies the honorable member and mover laid out here in this honorable house, to indicate, Madam Speaker, that after 20 years, the workers at NHC have not seen an increase or any little piece of sugar cake. How many years? 20 years. Wow. That's real hard. Wow. When I saw it, it pained me, because had I known or remembered or reflected, I would have moved quicker in doing it. But nothing happens before its time. And Madam Speaker, it gives me great pleasure, because when you have persons in the institution working for all these years for less than $2,000 or $2,000, I mean, that's not really, really good. And we are working towards that. So I want to thank the leadership, the board, the chairman and his entire team for really doing the due diligence, Madam Speaker. And I'm happy, Honorable Mover of the bill, to add to all that you're doing, that in 2024, the staff at the NHC Corporation will receive a 10% salary increase. It therefore means, Madam Speaker, that no one in NHC would be working for less than $2,500. I think that is a good start. Madam Speaker, you heard the Honorable Senator yesterday spoke about youth empowerment and all of the other areas, but I just wanted to lend some support to her and indicate that on our journey to becoming a sustainable island state, Madam Speaker, it begins with the future in mind. And of course, the youth are our future. So it is our duty, Madam Speaker, to fashion a new St. Kitts and Nevis, being cognizant of the fact that our youth should be empowered to become the champions of industry and the innovators of change. At the same time, we should create a just society that safeguards the interests of the aging, the disabled, and all other among us who are vulnerable. Again, Madam Speaker, I was moved with the passion of the lesson taught last evening by Honorable Iseline in terms of how we deal with this group in particular. Sometimes you feel that you know everything, but it's only when she started to talk you realize why sometimes I try to offer the help to push the person in the wheelchair, but maybe they figure they didn't need my help. So now I know I must ask. So I want to thank her for that. Madam Speaker, it is the quality of care and concern we show to our neighbors and strangers among us that will determine if we are growing into a just society or we remain just a society. Very important, Madam Speaker. And the budget before us captures the obligations of the government to help our youth to reach their full potential, that they may make meaningful contributions, Madam Speaker, to our national development. And at the same time, the government understands the need for programs that will promote the concept of aging with ability and with dignity. And you heard again from the honorable member last night all of those initiatives that she's hoping to undertake. Because, Madam Speaker, when we introduced that we're turning the community centers into senior homes, persons spoke about it negatively. The senior daycares. But look at what has happened over the past year. And like her, Madam Speaker, she loves to be around the seniors. They love her. And I love to be around them, Madam Speaker, as well. You know how it feels when you walk in one of their homes and they offer you a cup of bush tea, and you have to drink it whether or not you had one at your home. You know how it feels when you're leaving. They say, God bless you, and may he go before you and keep you. We must take care of our seniors. And when you see our seniors, at least when I walk in up the Newtown Community Center, see them playing the dominoes, making the kites, and the chess games. And some of them talking the stories about the garden in the yard and all them kind of stuff, and they bring in the little bit of bush and them kind of things to share with the other colleagues. That is what we need. And I lend my full support to the honorable member, honorable senator, sorry. Maybe I'm getting in the prophetic for down the road. But lending my full support to her, Madam Speaker, as we endeavor to open up another 3 community centers that will serve our seniors. Now, Madam Speaker, there has been training within the public sector on designing policies that facilitate the inclusion of the disabled as both providers and recipients of quality service. The Madam Senator highlighted some of that. We are happy to have the Attorney General supporting us. And UNICEF is on board in making sure that all of our laws that governs our protection of our children, our disabled, they are well in one hymnal, not PC and PC. So I am happy with what is happening, Madam Speaker. The Ministry of Youth, Empowerment, Aging and Disability views its work in 2024 and being transitional and transformative, Madam Speaker. The strategic goal of the ministry have been factored into our purpose spending package of $3.4 million. And it's an increase. We have it budgeted for, Madam Speaker, and come January 2024, we shall begin to work the budget as we embark on our journey to bring youth empowerment and the involvement of the aging and disabled into strategic focus and new sustainable island state. Now, Madam Speaker, moving along, I must touch off on youth entrepreneurship. The Honorable Member for number 4, he would have mentioned it. But I want to commend again the leadership in the Ministry of Youth Empowerment, because in addition to what Honorable Member for number 4 Ministry is doing, the Youth Empowerment Ministry is also pushing entrepreneurship among our youth. And we were able, Madam Speaker, to get the assistance of Brandy Williams Limited. That's a UK-based firm owned by Mr. Brandy Williams of Keyon. He lives in the diaspora and he thought of giving back. He reached out to the youth department and a team came from England, conducted training with quite a number of our youths, and they were able to raise grants for our young people to start their businesses, those who had to empower them further in ensuring that the business reach where they would want it to. And I want to commend him. I believe he might be listening, so I want to commend him for that. And of course, Madam Speaker, in 2024, the training will continue. And we are going to be asking more persons to come on board to work with our young people in their dreams. Madam Speaker, the Youth Empowerment Ministry will also undertake initiatives in 2024 with all government ministries to establish a youth focal point in each one of their ministry. Very important. And I lend my support to the minister. I remember while serving as a youth director, I championed the cause to ensure that on every statutory board we had a youth voice. And I am pleased to announce that that happened during my tenure as Director of Youth under the former Labour administration government. And it continues under the leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister, member for constituency number 8, where our young people are given a space at the table, an iPad or a laptop in front of them for them to make their own contributions. And we are going to be pushing more of this in 2024. That is why, Madam Speaker, when the Honorable Senator says sometimes, I come and I say, we need this done, we need this done. I love her energy too. And that is why she knows that she has my full support. And I know I have hers too. And the dream of ensuring that we have our National Student Council or Congress, I will do whatever is necessary to make sure that happens. I did it 22 years ago with the SKNIS group. And we are going to do it in 2024, giving these school leaders the opportunity to have their voices be heard when it comes to education and where they see St. Kitts and Nevis as we move towards a sustainable island state, how they can make their contributions. And Madam Speaker, we cannot underestimate them if they come from a primary school or a high school. They are just as sharp, because when I visit the school during the campaign of the school government, it's real campaign like what we do in the political arena these children are doing in their school. So it means that they are showing us that once they are given the opportunity, they will be able to excel. And our job is to make sure that we provide all of the cushion for them. Because, Madam Speaker, unless our youths are rightly trained and aware of every facet of the journey we are on, we risk that one day our people become stuck and left stranded on a journey towards sustainability. And we don't want that. That is why we will expose our youth to every facet of the national agenda and include them in the work. And above all, we will continue to remember and to recognize their remarkable contributions in their endeavors and award them in every way we can, Madam Speaker. Again, Madam Speaker, I am extremely proud of my junior minister. Super proud. Minister. And I pushing for it, and you see how you like to think, you know. Yes, my minister. My minister. Sometimes I refer to her as my boss, you know, because don't judge the size, you know, Madam Speaker. Sometimes she calls me and I have to sit right in front of her in her desk, in her office, and she take out a book and she go through boom, 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 boom. And you know me, a humble pie. I said, no problem, we'll get it done. Yes. But I am extremely proud, Madam Speaker. While we getting ready to move off of the youth aspect, Madam Speaker, allow me to highlight something with the STEP program. The move of the bill gave us an idea of the enormous costs associated with the implementation of the social network programs that are currently funded, Madam Speaker, by government. He also highlighted the need for the government to streamline some of these programs to make them more manageable and sustainable. In fact, our Sustainable Ideal State agenda dictates that all that we do in the public sector is sustainable over the medium and long term. In this regard, one of the critical areas that require attention is the skills training empowerment program known as the STEP. We have had the opportunity to operate the program for the past 10 years, Madam Speaker, and have observed several weaknesses that threatens its effectiveness and sustainability. Currently, Madam Speaker, there are 3,016 persons employed in the STEP program. I must say that 1,516 deployed in the public sector and 1,321 in the private sector. The initial design of the program was to provide training opportunities, Madam Speaker, and some limited temporary employment, primarily to provide some relevant work experience for participants. We are all aware, however, that over the years, the actual operations have moved far away from the original concept. We also agree as well that the current operation is somewhat unsustainable, and you heard it from member for number 9 yesterday and other members as well. So the ministry, Madam Speaker, is therefore challenged to realign the program to a focus on training and entrepreneurship in 2024. It must be done, Madam Speaker. We also intend to work with the private enterprises to address a critical issue that is threatening the sustainability of the program. Madam Speaker, it is increasingly burdensome for the government to continue to support businesses with free labor for procrastinated period. That's the reality, Madam Speaker. In fact, some of these businesses have enjoyed that form of labor from the inception of the program. And I did a quick calculation, Madam Speaker, and what it showed is that if you had someone from the STEP or the PEP into the STEP program from 2013 on to now, the government would have spent or invested in your business $164,610 over that period of time.
So that figure again.
$164,610. And that has nothing to do when double salaries or double wages are paid. Now we must come up with a strategic plan as to how we would deal with that, Madam Speaker. I remember under my tenure as the director of PEP at the time, we started to look at how we can negotiate with the businesses. At that time, they would pay $150 and we, as the PEP operators, would pay $150. We have started working with the businesses, calling them in, having dialogue to make sure that we know what's going on with them as well, because we're not going to put anybody out of a job. For sure, we are not going to do that. But what we are seeking, Madam Speaker, is better partnership. And if I should say probably a more honest partnership. So as I said, we will find ways to encourage such businesses to do the right thing, to regularize some of these persons. There are some companies, and I must, if I may, credit, let's say, TDC. In the early stages when TDC had, PEP workers, what they did, even if they had a PEP worker, they topped up that PEP worker wage to what they would have been working for in that institution. And eventually they took all of their workers. So in 2024, we are going to try to go back to the table to find the best way of how we can assist and work with our businesses. Because, Madam Speaker, some of them feel that they open their business and we are here to support, that up to a cleaner, they're asking you for 2 and 3 workers. Some are not even saying, well, I will pay for one and you pay for one. They want a cleaner, they want somebody. But of course, we also have an obligation to provide these opportunities for our people. For sure, we are not going to let anybody be out of a job. But what we are asking, Madam Speaker, is that as we move forward in 2024, that we go back to the drawing board and we ensure that, one, we go back to the original mandate of training with the opportunity of having their own businesses. Madam Speaker, moving right along, we are well positioned for takeoff, Madam Speaker. Well positioned for takeoff.
Where are we going?
We're marching forward.
Yes,
And in doing that, Madam Speaker, we're not leaving anyone behind. I spoke about my youths, I spoke about my seniors, the disabled, and we are moving forward, Madam Speaker. One of the unique things about the STEP program is that they deliver 2 cohorts of persons trained in home care at the Clarence Fitzroy Bryan College. and they are working alongside our social development ministry in ensuring...
Honourable Member, you have 15 minutes left on your allotted time.
No, I'm not losing the bet today. Yes.
I take your time and talk.
You see, he want to win the trophy, but we're going to see. Yes, Madam Speaker. So as I say, we are ready. We are ready for takeoff, Madam Speaker. And I want to put a plug in here as well while I'm on this step. And you got to recognize, Madam Speaker, that I have a long ministry, but I'm trying to cut short.
That's why you need to ask for the time.
I will when the time runs out, but you ain't going to win the bet. So I want to recognize those STEP home care officers because they're doing an excellent job in the communities that they are serving. And I have a group specifically in my constituency that I don't think there is a senior in my constituency that is not assisted through this initiative. And I'm super proud of this because gone are the days when we had our seniors locked in and afraid to come out. You see what they did, the seniors PAM, and I was approached by the Coast Guard, and next year they want to expose our seniors to swimming. And matter of fact, one approached me, Madam Speaker, and asked if there is any way we could think about getting some stands in a certain area in the Frigate Bay Beach area where they can actually just go in the water, hold on the railings and sit so that they can get the therapy, in terms of the waves. And I thought that's a very good initiative, and we are going to work towards that in delivery. And I'm certain that the Minister of Infrastructure will be able to assist in that regard. But one of the things I'm looking forward to in 2024, Madam Speaker, I think is in September, is that we are going to have some spots, car parks, designated for persons with disabilities. Too often, Madam Speaker, they have to be driving round and round and they can't find nowhere. We are going to assist in that. And of course, this will be done in collaboration with the Minister and the Ministry of Infrastructure and the Traffic Department and of course the Minister of Sustainability as well. So Madam Speaker, it's a new day and a better way on our journey to becoming a sustainable island state, and the disabled will be empowered. If I go quickly, social development, I now turn my focus to the area of the government that creates a buffer for our people in times of economic and social struggle, thereby offering much needed social protection. The journey towards a new day in our sustainable island state needs to cater for the protection of our children. And again, you heard it coming out from the Honorable Minister. Our low-income households that are headed primarily by our single mothers and single fathers, if I can, and of course, at-risk individual among us. But the single mothers must be highlighted because this too has become a very passionate piece for the Honorable Member for number 8. And everything we do, he always says, remember the single mothers. How is it going to affect them? And we are happy that we are paying much attention to that. But Madam Speaker, while the world faces all of the polycrises of COVID, conflict and climate change, St. Kitts and Nevis is blessed to have the committed team at the Ministry of Social Development and Gender Affairs who work assiduously towards delivering child protection, poverty alleviation, gender equality, and the promotion of communities where the vulnerable and at risk can say with pride that our country is the best place to grow up and the best place to grow old. The budget before us, Madam Speaker, has allotted 42.6% million to achieving the 2024 objectives of the ministry. The social development programs for the upcoming year seeks to create a sustainable economic and social environment that promotes responsible action on the part of the government and the people. There is need for responsible use of the resources that are provided for the social development of our communities, including all our community centers. And you heard last night, again, the honorable member talking about the Kayana Community Center. Because the government believes that our community centers are to be hub for social development and the emphasis, as part of the emphasis on our journey, Madam Speaker, to a sustainable island state. Madam Speaker, this center in Kayan as the multipurpose community center will provide much needed training in that area, and the ministry is positioned to deliver on that. Now, Madam Speaker, there are a number of capital projects in the ministry that we are going to pursue in 2024. These include the upgrade of the New Horizon Center. The KR Multipurpose Community Center is already there to be open. Yes, the honorable member is happy. And of course, we are moving towards building our building, as was highlighted by the member for number 8. Now, Madam Speaker, moving right along, in Ecclesiastical and Faith-Based, I can say we did well in 2023. As a new ministry, we brought some new initiatives. They were well received, and I want to thank all of the members of staff at that ministry and all of the pastors who form part of whatever committees that we put in place to push that ministry. And of course, Madam Speaker, we understand that the budgetary system understands that blessed is the nation who God is the Lord. And as we continue to push this, Madam Speaker, it is imperative for us as a ministry to reach out as well to as many other faith-based. I had the privilege of attending a Rasta funeral. It was very, very inspirational, very educational. Was really blown away. Sometimes you see things and you assume, but when you see the reality, it's a different appreciation. And we are going to be reaching out to many more other faith-based in 2024, Madam Speaker. Of course, I look forward to the hosting of our annual National Day of Prayer, which is slated for February 28, and the interdenominational denominational Day of Prayer in collaboration with our brothers and sisters in Nevis. We are going to strengthen that, of course, in the upcoming year. One thing, Madam Speaker, I wasn't able to deliver in 2023 because of certain hiccups, but I believe we get it clear out before 2024 starts, and that is the cry of the pastors in the Sandy Point community, where they were asking for the commissioning of the community cemetery. So I give them the assurance today that in 2024, you will have that cemetery commissioned. I also need to draw to our attention that has been brought to ours is that there is something happening over in the Kayan area that we are going to be looking more closely into. where persons are paying in excess of 3,000 and more to have their dead buried in the Anglican cemetery, or the cemetery that is close to the Anglican churchyard. They have brought that as a concern, and I give them the assurance in this National Assembly that we are going to be addressing that as well. Madam Speaker, I had the opportunity of attending the Pastors' Conference a few weeks ago. And the first time we did that in St. Kitts, where we brought us, I think it was 70-something pastors together. And the way how they shared, I think Reverend Morton from Nevis was one of the presenters, and you had the Sylvester Herbert from the Wesleyan Holiness, and Pastor Isaiah Philip, and a lot of them. The information was real rich, and this is something that we are going to be encouraging. And I'm getting ready to wrap up, Madam Speaker. Speaking about heaven here on earth, I want now to focus on that piece of paradise that is known to all as St. Christopher No. 1, East Bastia. The people of this constituency continue to work with me, their humble servant and parliamentarian representative, making positive change for the single mothers, Madam Speaker, the elderly, the school children, the workers, and the aspiring young business men and women. Of course, Madam Speaker, there's always a need for collaborative work of the government departments and ministries with communities to ensure that public good that is delivered meets the local need and in an investment into long-term community development. This we have done in constituency number 1 in 2023, and we will endeavor to achieve this in 2024 and beyond. During the calendar year, Madam Speaker, I'm just going to highlight some of the stuff that would have taken place, because the social media at times, sometimes they carry more of the negatives than the actual reality. But during the calendar year, East Bastia had undergone much revitalization as part of our urban renewal program. This year, Madam Speaker, some property owners reached out and have indicated to us that they will make their properties available for us to purchase so that we can build homes in the constituency. And I welcome that, not only in East Bastia, but I believe it will happen, if it have not started happening, in Central Bastia, because, you know, we don't have much land. But what we are going to do, Madam Speaker, is that when we start clearing these lands in the constituency, we are going to work closely with the Minister of Agriculture, and we are going to turn them into orchards so that we can plant certain crops so that persons can, the community can enjoy. Some of them might not necessarily need all of the attention of what the member for number 11 might want in terms of agriculture. But if we plant, you know, peas trees and those other things, limes and that kind of stuff, at least somebody can go there ever so often and get 2 limes and that kind of stuff, so that we don't have a case where the place is filthy. I was there in my constituency just about every day when they were doing the cleanup, and Madam Speaker, it is very concerning to me, and the minister and I will have a conversation as to how we can do that, because we got to do something to deal with these litter. May I ask for the extra time, Madam Speaker? Okay.
Anything you have to say? Yes, Honourable Member, you are out of time. The question is that the Honourable Member for St. Christopher 1 be permitted to speak for a further period not exceeding 30 minutes. Those in favour? Aye. Those against?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. And I'm going to thank you, the House. Thank you, colleagues. Thank you. You see how they be, Madam Speaker? He tell me, my good colleague, my good brother from number 3, and tell me, boy, talk as long as you want. Yes, I'm getting there. Yes. So we are going to do that as part of the beautification as well in the constituency. Of course, Madam Speaker, I mentioned earlier that we have a STEP program within the constituency that takes care of our seniors that is separate but work alongside with aging and social development. And I want to thank them for their service, because you know that I am a regular visitor of the seniors. It's just 2 days ago I had the privilege of celebrating the 90th birthday of Enid Doe up at Pons Pasture. And she wanted to know, well, how you remember my birthday? I said, because it's in my phone. I have a date. I have all of that. So she was extremely happy that I came, and the ministry also went. Madam Speaker, during the year, I started an initiative which I'm going to complete as well at the Tucker Clark Primary School, where I'm changing all of the doors on the school. The years before, I was able to tile the whole auditorium, and now I am replacing all of the doors, and I will continue to do that. I think I'm down to either 5 left now, based on persons who would have given the commitment. Now, Madam Speaker, I must say that the water solution, or the water issue in East Bastille, it has improved, and I want to thank the Minister for Infrastructure, who has been doing a fantastic job, and I know it is only going to be better. Yes. When he makes his presentation, he will explain. But I want to give the persons in the Frigate Bay area in particular, and the Southeast Peninsula, that we are doing all that we can to ensure that you get regular water. And of course, all of those who would have called at mornings, I do apologize, and I have been trying my best to make sure that we fix that, and we will improve that. I passed here yesterday and I saw the Disal plant box, or whatever, if that's the correct name, where they're going to do the pump or whatever. See them painting it. So painting it blue means that we are ready to let out the water. So I am looking forward to that improvement. But over the next year, Madam Speaker, it is my intention to do quite a number of things. Because when I was on the campaign trail, I presented my manifesto, which was speaking life into the constituency. The L, of course, spoke to the landscape. The I, improvements and innovation. F for the fitness, and the E for entrepreneurship and entertainment. And because of time, Madam Speaker, I won't go through all of them, but if you can look back to the school days of being the big book, you'd realize that quite a number of things that I've listed, whatever you see in green, Madam Speaker, we would or I would have delivered. So it's an indication that I am working on behalf of the people in East Bastille. And I continue to speak life. And again, in collaboration with the Minister of Infrastructure, you're going to see in quick time speed bumps in the ponds extension areas and other areas where necessary. Speed bumps are not necessary in every area, but where they are necessary, we are going to do that. In a matter of days, Madam Speaker, we will start replacing our street signs in Pons Pasture. That was something that I was asked to ensure that happens, and we are going to do that. In partnership, Madam Speaker, with the Police Force and Traffic Department, it is my intention to put up school zones. Just in the US, you see the sign saying school zone speed limit is 15, because I still find a lot of the motorists don't really respect the school zone area. So as a project, as part of our community improvement committee, they are going to erect these signs. And again, I mentioned about the orchards, so I won't bother go back to that. One of the things I'm going to work with the minister for the member for number 4 is the launch of our backyard garden in East Bastille. I'm going to develop the program and the competition, if you want to put it that way, where we can have that launch in East Bastille. And of course, the honorable member for number 3 has promised me that we are going to get our roads resurfaced, and those that the drains need fixing. Those, I believe, when he comes to speak in, yes, George Street for sure. Yes, and I'm excited, Madam Speaker. A business person already approached me in assisting in putting down a kiddies park. So I am looking forward to that. In addition to that, the Taiwanese, I'm awaiting a gift from them where we are hoping to get our outdoor gym equipment in a space where, you know, you can just use. So these are some of the initiatives that we are going to have. And of course, I'm going to put a committee together, Madam Speaker, to look at areas in the constituency because of concerns in terms of the renaming. Persons have reached out to me in terms of the health center, the dental clinic, and even the stadium. And I want to thank the honorable member for number 4, who ensured that I was able to deliver on a promise that I made during the campaign. Because for 7 years, you had a stadium in East Bastia, the Newtown Sporting Complex, that was an eyesore to many, and nothing at all was done. Even when I went on the radio and would have spoken about it, time and time, nothing. But I guess because it was a galvalume roof, if it was a concrete, maybe we might have already gotten it done. But I am so grateful, Madam Speaker. In less than 2 years, the honorable member, after speaking to him, ensured that we were able to deliver. I'm also working on trying to see if we can change the seating. And of course, I mentioned the Disal plant. The honorable member promised it, and he is delivering it for not only members of East Bastia, but it so happened that it is situated in East Bastia. So, Madam Speaker, 2024 will be a year of action in St. Kitts and Nevis in all aspects of national development. I am honored to have been afforded the opportunity by God, the Prime Minister and the people to be a part of the leadership of this country at this time of critical transformation. I look forward to working with the teams in the various ministries to pilot the programs that are funded in 2024, spending packages for the benefit of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. I want to thank my most honorable colleagues, all for their support and assistance. Madam Speaker, I look forward to Cabinet every Monday to the point where I don't be late. And we try to make sure that others don't, and we have the early coup, and then we even instituted, if you're late, you have to put $100. Well, for the record, I would not do so, Madam Speaker. But in 2024, I look even more forward. $100 when you're late in Cabinet, but we're going to make sure we either ensure that they pay or we top it up in 2024. But I am really grateful to be serving on this team. Each and every one of you, I look forward to your continued support. The Honorable Prime Minister, I want to personally thank you for not only your leadership, but also your confidence in me to lead when you're not around. And of course, all of us, thank you very much. I want to thank you, Honorable Madam Speaker, and the Madam Deputy, and the Clerk, and everybody in here for presiding over the affairs for the year. I mean, your guys have been extremely supportive, very professional, and I like the camaraderie that exists in the National Assembly. And I want to thank each and every one of you for discharging your duties with such a high level of professionalism. Finally, and most importantly, I want to salute the people of the sweetest slice of paradise. The sweetest slice of paradise. The people from East Bastia. The people from Taylors. Those who live in Gillard Meadows, member for number 8. Ponds Pasture, New Pond Site, Newtown, Bird Rock, Almonds, Frigate Bay, and I'm going to take Half Moon as well too. I want, because I go and when I go, I tell them I'm here on behalf of the Prime Minister. I want to thank each of you for your support and of course my executive and even those persons who are not on my executive in my constituency, but they come from other constituencies to ensure that whatever I am doing or we are doing in the constituency is always done and done with class. So I want to thank them. They are not from East Bastia, but they are from East Bastia because I roped them in. I want to thank them. They know who they are. I am, not to get in any trouble, I won't call their names because maybe some of their reps don't even know that they do assist me. But as the year draws closer to an end, I want to thank God for this time of the year. And as we get ready to move into 2024, I look forward to more of His grace and His mercies, not only on us as a cabinet or on us as a parliament, but also as the federation. I know I'll have my opportunity to do it in the adjournment, but I just want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. Even those in the diaspora, Merry Christmas from your representative and a bright and prosperous New Year. May it please you, Madam Speaker.